We'll call the meeting to order at 7:01. I trust everybody has seen the agenda. So we'll just go right to the first agenda item, which is approving these minutes from November 14th and revised April 8th. I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make
Anybody
a motion that
wants-
we accept last meeting's minutes.
But you and I weren't there, so I think we still can
Can we
vote
have
on
to
the
read them?
minutes. I'm sorry?
We can
We
have, as long as we read them? No?
Yeah, well, we still can approve them. So, motion made and second, approve the minutes, Paul Flaherty, aye.
Aye.
Aye, Steve Racketson, aye.
Andy Leonard, aye.
John Johnson, aye.
Dan Lazar's aye.
Thank you. Next item of business is to go over the schematic design and narrative from Weston Sampson. So,
Yeah.
go ahead, Steve, you got something to inject here?
I got
That's
something
fine.
lined up, right. So I'm gonna try and keep to the to our agenda items in order. I have sort of a quick overview. I think the main emphasis for tonight is going over the presentation for town meeting, which is also going to be used for select board FinCom and the public meeting or community meeting on the 30th. So let me share my screen first, go through some of these items quick. So that's just recapping our agenda. Like I just went through, design progress. The design development drawings are complete. They've been issued as a pricing set to the two estimators, which we'll talk about shortly. Tech spec is ongoing, but is due shortly to follow the drawing set. The site plan review was submitted to the planning board on the 20th, and I can go over some of the dates that we've gotten from them in the next slide. Conservation Commission submission will be by the end of the month, and as usual, we're continuing our bi-weekly working group meetings. We had one this morning. So our schedule, sort of our short-term schedule. The 28th, there's a select board finance committee meeting, which we're providing an update. Also that night, there's a planning board meeting. So the teams are gonna somewhat split up and cover those meetings. The 30th will be the completion of the design development, like I mentioned before. Also on the 30th is the community outreach forum at the community center. Then we roll into the town meeting and the ballot on May 7th and the 12th. May 13th is the Conservation Commission meeting. May 26th is the planning board hearing. That first meeting is not the start of the hearing. It's an initial meeting. And then from May through July, we'll continue with the construction documents, contractor pre-qualification, anticipating bidding in the months of August and September. That's if all goes well with the May meetings, town meeting and the ballot.
Steve, with respect to April 28th, I know Dennis was going to talk to the manager, and I also spoke to her this afternoon. She has put that early on the agenda for the selectmen. So depending on how long we take and where we sit on the planning board, you may be able to have everybody both places.
Do both? Okay. All right. Yeah,
I'm not sure. It all depends on where the planning board does, but Kristen has indicated she'd put us early on in the agenda.
Okay. Well, I know the select board is in person and planning is remote. so we can potentially get to both of them.
Right.
In regard to the third-party cost estimates, so the DD package was issued on 4/20 to TCI, who is Weston and Sampson's estimator, and PM&C, who is Vertex's estimator. TCI is going to have their estimate back roughly on the 1st. PM&C needs a little bit more time. That'll be on the 8th. And after we get those two estimates back, we'll review and we'll have a reconciliation meeting with the two estimating firms, Weston and Sampson and Vertex, to make sure that each estimate is carrying the correct quantities and the unit prices within reason. Then the numbers are never going to be exactly the same because they have their opinions on things. But usually it's a couple-hour meeting going through the line items, just to check that, where design-wise we're tracking on our budget, which we were at the schematic design level. So that's coming up also in May. It's somewhat of a busy time. Meeting presentation review. So we've gone through a bunch of drafts. I'm gonna go through the current draft tonight, but the discussion was at town meeting, and we'll probably do this at the community center. I don't know about the select board meeting, but the video that BBT did will be played initially, and that'll be followed by the draft presentation. And we need to select the speakers and which slides they're doing, but it's going to be very similar to the fall town meeting. We have eliminated some of the slides because they're in the video, but the fall town meeting was Paul, Dennis, and Steve that did the speaking. So it's the same or not, we can firm that up. If there's no questions, I'll jump to my PowerPoint presentation so we can take a look at the presentation.
Go ahead.
Sound good?
Yep.
Okay. So it's not a long presentation. We don't have a lot of time at town meeting anyways. So cover sheet. The first two slides are really just a sort of a recap of what the November town meeting was, just to remind people of essentially, what does a DPW do? Because there may be some new people attending this town meeting, going through the bullet points. Again, this is the same slide we had in November. Similarly, this is also a similar slide. Why is a new DPW needed? And these are the same bullet points. After this, we start to change things up. We've got a slide showing what the proposed site plan is with the various areas identified. Orient yourself to Pleasant Street, the existing garage to remain, and then the new addition being the staff and admin section, the maintenance bay, and then the wash bay. And then just showing some of the other, the salt shed's going to remain. We're relocating the existing fuel station from this area here, and then the existing fabric storage structure is going to be relocated to this area, and then some new material storage bins. So that's what we're showing for the proposed site plan. Then we sort of give an isometric of what the building's gonna look like, and we took it from this view because this really shows the new construction. The existing garage is on the right, and staff building, and then the vehicle maintenance bay and the wash bay, and down here is sort of the plan view to orient them people. I think that's that's probably the best view for people that don't necessarily know construction. As opposed to looking at a floor plan. And then with just having a couple blow-up views, this is just the admin section showing the staff break room, the administrative offices, the lockers and showers, training and conference room and utilities. We sort of did, Western Sampson did areas versus identifying each room just because, it ended up getting too small. You really couldn't read it. And then sort of the match line is the vehicle maintenance bays and the vehicle wash bay. Then we go through a slide of our anticipated milestone dates. We inserted the November 4th meeting showing when the design funds were appropriated, just to again reorient people, and then simply go into the design development phase, completing construction documents phase, the annual town meeting for construction funds, the fact that you need to go to the ballot on the 12th to vote also, and then if the ballot question is approved, we'll complete the bid documents June, July, do the pre-qualification of the GCs and file subbidders because construction's over 10 million. And that will happen simultaneously during the June, July period. Then go to the bidding phase in August and September. And we got an estimated construction time frame of October to December 27. We're recapping the total project budget, starting with the design costs, then the estimated construction costs, then the estimated owner costs and fees, which is like your OPM, your designer, your testing fees, contingencies, so forth. Getting a subtotal, then subtracting what was appropriated in the fall for the total project budget for construction, which is coming out at 16,968, which coincides with the request for 17,000 on the warrant.
17 million.
Excuse me, 17 million, yes. The tax impact, this slide was also the same slide from the November town meeting. The only change we made to this, the total borrow amount is 18.5, and we confirmed that other funding sources are being used where previously it was a possibility of it. We just want to make sure that the numbers match up, and then the tax increase based on the $750,000 assessment is the $116.25 a quarter. So all that tax impact information is basically the same, just confirming that we do have some other funding sources that are contributing to the project. And then this last slide is essentially the same as the fall town meeting, which sort of emphasized that the project we're doing now is meeting the minimum DPW needs. In the narrative form, Dennis will probably discuss that the project originally was much larger, and we did cut it down significantly. And that's the presentation. Any questions?
So one question. So Paul, the additional funding sources include money left over from the community center, and
Yes.
any leftover money from the design funds that were appropriated in November. Are those the two?
No, it's just the I believe it's just the number from the community center, 451 and change.
No, there will also, Paul, there's also leftover
Was the
money
other
in
one on there? I've seen warrant and I've seen numbers all over the place, and so there is that other one is there, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah. But the big one is the 451 from the community center.
And the other one is leftover money from design?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
So we asked for 2.5 million to enter into a contract with Vertex and Weston and Sampson, and their contracts are under that amount.
Okay.
We negotiated a fixed fee, and there is revenue left over that can be applied to the construction. And that
Okay.
is why we worded the language in the article for the 2.5 million as such, so that we could do that without any future need for town meeting vote.
Okay.
Steve Rackerton, I misunderstood there. There were some earlier previous articles that were used, and the finance director indicated that it would not be appropriate to use them. So
Okay.
it's the what's ever left from the 2.5 plus the 451.
Okay.
Any more questions out there? John? Dan? Anything to add, Dan? Questions?
Yeah, I think you guys have on the slide that we have DD done. So we're only looking at SD right now. Where's the DD set, and is there an updated cost estimate to DD? Is anything changing?
No, the DD right now is being priced.
Is that the set we're looking at now, Steve, one that was given to us?
The one that was that came out in the that Dennis issued.
Yes.
There was one from a couple of weeks ago, Steve.
Yeah, I think we issued the site plan review set, if I'm not mistaken. Hold on.
Yeah, I sent a link for the DD just to Dennis and Paul, I believe.
Okay.
I remember
Okay.
correctly. So that can be distributed.
And I think that's what I distributed to everybody else, right, Dan?
No, we have the SD set.
I think
Schematic
it's the SD or the site review plan set.
design. It's the SD set, I think.
Okay.
We have the SD set and the SD narrative, and we have the
SD estimate. Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
Everything that you gave to me, Steve, or whoever emailed it to me, I'm sorry, I sent it to Dan.
Yeah, that was
Sent him
me.
everything you sent me.
Yeah, because that's right, because Dan, the last meeting was the 8th, so it was the SD set at that point. The DD set
Okay.
wasn't available.
Yeah, and there was the multi-page schematic design narrative from Weston Sampson.
It was narratives, there was the cost estimate, the budget, and the drawings.
Yes.
So,
Just
yeah,
to be
Yeah.
abundantly clear, the DD set, the cover on the plan show issued for design development. So it sounds like Dan is seeing something other than that. So we should try to get him this set.
it's the SD set, because we're going back a couple weeks.
Okay,
Yeah, we
but
have the SD set.
the DD set was sent to I'm sorry, not to Paul, just to Dennis and the other working group team on Monday.
Okay.
So
Yeah,
Dennis,
this
if you
one
want
here.
to distribute that,
And just so everybody knows, that's a link. It's too big to send over email. So it's
Right.
a link to
Correct.
download. Let us know if you have any troubles with that download link.
correct. Thanks, Tony.
Yeah, I only had a couple questions from the SD set looking at it. It seems like a couple quick questions. The narratives, we didn't have engineering drawings, and I suspect the DD set's got engineering drawings in it, as opposed to the SD set just had narratives.
Correct.
Yeah, so no plan changes between DD and SD. This is just development of the SD set, correct?
Yeah, there may be some minor changes, but yes, nothing major. Correct.
Okay. Couple immediate quick things from just looking at it from last week. And like I said, Capital Committee is going to get together. We have a few other people with some construction and design experience taking a look at it too. Just generally, like I said, the plan looks like it's what we'd expect. There's no surprises there in terms of the needs plan. I suspect the committee may come up with some feedback for the building committee to consider. Because we do have, like I said, a few folks that have pretty good keen interest and have done these kinds of buildings. The two quick ones for me was in the SD set, there was a reference on the energy code about it's below 20,000 square feet, but we're tracking about 20,240 square feet right now. And so it looks like we have to make sure that the energy code is addressed, which leads me to my second question was on the energy code with the existing building, two-part question. Do we need to do some minimal upgrades for energy code compliance? And then just being smart, given that we live in the state that is the third highest natural gas and electricity prices in America. Because I think that question will come. And are we at a point now where, like I said, that would generally just be that's a Butler building, so you can pretty much buy kits to upgrade the roof and the walls. I'm just talking about like a simple roof update to get the materials updated and just get the R values up on the walls of the roofs so we don't have any issues with that. Was that, I guess, so that's that two-part question related to the energy code compliance. And then are we doing enough on that? Because I can see a citizen asking that question. Like, are we passing go and not doing the bare minimum things that need to be done to that building to make sure that, we don't come back, that it's got a good run and it's contemporary to what we should be doing now?
I can address part of that. I'll have to get back to you on the energy code portion, but as far as the existing building, we are trying to not touch that existing building as much as possible. However, we are replacing the ventilation system in there, including adding new gas-fired radiant tube heaters, which will heat up the space and the equipment in there. It is going to be just considered a minimally heated garage. So updating the insulation, the cost for that may not outweigh the need. That's something we could consider.
Sure.
But with that updated heating system, you're going to have a lot less heat loss in there because you're heating objects on the floor basically rather than the air.
Yeah, so there was just two things there. There was really the question about, I'm not asking to change the footprint down. I think the footprint looks fine, what we have there. But we definitely have the over 20,000 square foot and larger rule kicking us. And to your point, just making sure from lighting, light harvesting, and the envelope for what really makes sense for the town. Yeah, I'm not asking to do it just because. I'm asking to do it because we need to answer the question when it comes from a citizen that we've looked at it from that cost benefit and what's the appropriate thing to do from an energy usage and cost standpoint. That's all. And that's a good thing to be ready to talk about in the community sessions next week, and then also ready for town hall floor, because I suspect that could easily come. We got enough people live in town. We're not right next door to Consigli, so we got definitely a whole pile of Consigli people and others. So I know there's enough people to ask good questions from the public.
But Dan, all these points that you're bringing up, these are all things that are going to be ongoing through the project. The point now is the number. The number that we're bringing to town meeting is the number that we're going with. These items that you're suggesting, they can be all considered once we start getting further into it. What you're talking about now, I don't see how that is going to change anybody's mind or anything, because this is just, the number is the number.
I'm not talking about any number changes. I'm just talking about those are conversations we need to be prepared to answer as a building committee. And as, like I said,
Well, these things are gonna
And then the
change as we
couple,
go
and
along.
that, and Paul, that decision is something that is done here at SD, going into DD. Because now that you
Yeah.
plow into DD, you're not looking back at those things, and if somebody brings it up later, if it was a later approval, you go sideways. I think we just need to reconcile that. First thing first is that SD narrative had that, didn't have that quite fully reconciled, because the mechanical and architecture narratives refer to the building not tripping the total building over 20,000 square feet, in which we're over by 240 square feet. So literally, you just
Yeah.
you have a building code compliance issue to deal with right off there for starters. And I think Gene just brought up the examples that the other things he's talking about, your system selections in the existing envelope, two things: if it's got enough, or you can add just a little insulation to make it enough to have the compliance, you're done. And then the only other question is we sure don't want to go to the voters 5 or 10 years from now and say, oh, we got to put a roof, or we got to put some siding on this building. So we got to answer that question. That's all. The dollars are the dollars. You
That's
figure
that,
that they get squeezed out.
and that's what we're basically presenting to the people.
Yeah, I think that questions can easily come. And the second thing is, I was just looking at the fuel island. It looks like, other than just moving tanks, we're building a new fuel island. Are we building it for what we need it to be in terms of the canopy and the pad? And I guess I'd question the sense that are we, because the only thing we'd be doing is just having convolts with a Vita root system on it, right?
We're not.
And
My
that's not
understanding,
new.
all we're doing is we're moving the current system. We're not
Physically moving
creating
it
another
over.
one.
Right.
Correct. Yeah.
Well, no,
The
you're constructing
future-
a new pad. We're constructing a new pad and a canopy. So
Not a
right there and
canopy.
then, that,
It's basically a shed. Is what we're providing. We're sort of assuming there is an existing shed, and maybe that can get moved, but we're sort of assuming we'd have to replace that. But we
Yeah.
are providing a new concrete pad, but other than that, it's just getting relocated.
well, the cost estimate in SD had 200,000, almost $200,000 tacked to that. It seemed, I don't know, like you said, just questions. It looks like just make sure wherever that pad is and where it is can be sized for a future fuel island. Again, if you don't provide the complete updated fuel island, that's fine. But again, we only want to build one new fuel island.
Well,
Whether
the future fuel island is on the other side of the building, and it's gonna have the conduits as part of this for that future project, and there's
Correct.
room allowed for it. On the, what would that be, the west side of the building?
Yes, correct.
And that fuel island, that was part of one of the early plans here from a couple of years ago, and it was, I think it was moved off just because of cost prohibitive at that point.
Yeah, I think the original fuel island was pretty big.
Well, it's not designed just for DPW either. It should be a buy-in from all that
This
will
is-
be using it. So fire
you
department,
can
police
see that-
department.
That's the basically the area for the future fuel station. This is just taking what's here, and if it needs a new shed and a pad, but taking what they have and moving it over. Because that was part of keeping the costs down.
Yeah.
Correct.
Well, it seems expensive to move it, but it has to be moved no matter what, because it currently sits in the footprint of the building that we have
Yeah.
today. I think those are a few things that just really jumped out and stuck out. I suspect Capital will give some feedback. We're going to do everything we have in feedback and Bluebeam sessions. Like I said, I think there's nobody on the committee that doesn't understand the need of the building and importance. So I'm sure there'll be some other comments like that. And Paul, to be honest with you, I really don't want to get on town hall floor and not say we haven't had these discussions. This is the thing that we need to do. We need to have discussions like this. So there's really good there were some awkward gaps in the fall of answering some questions, to be honest with you. I got up and said that this committee was going to do its due diligence and vet this stuff out. I don't want to get up and say the number's a number. That's not, I think that's a losing proposition personally, to be honest with you. I think you gotta tell people, we're in a selling mode at this point.
Well,
You and I
I
must
don't-
have been at different meetings because I don't remember the awkward gaps. The only part that I remember was a fellow get up who might have been a little bit under the weather, according to my conversations afterwards, and was challenging whether or not the dollar amounts we were using were correct, because he's from the private sector and he's not used to prevailing wages and the rules and regulations that we have to follow as a municipality. That's what I remember.
Yeah, that's fine. Just look at the dollars. So you know, at the end of the day, if we don't want to have conversations ourselves, kind of typical conversations, then that's fine. I'm not trying to be a troublemaker at all. I'm just trying to say, let's talk about. Those are a couple things that are obvious, Captain Obvious things that anybody that knows a little bit about buildings that works in the industry can ask a couple of those questions. Committee
Again,
should,
too, we're
I don't
going
want to
through
hide
another
behind
round
prevailing
of,
wage and unions and public work, and it's just expensive. And I mean, that's not the way to sell a project.
but we're going through another round of pricing, which, you know, things will be picked up. You know, SD is a lot different from DD. And, you know, anything that, we haven't really talked about necessarily any value engineering yet. I mean, anything that we can do to lower the cost as we move forward, that cost savings can go right into contingency in case we need it during construction. And if it
Agreed.
doesn't get spent, it doesn't get spent.
No, totally agree, Steve. I just want to make sure we don't
Oh,
get
yeah.
caught in a rock and hard place. But those are the
Understood.
couple things that really stuck out to me that you got to be able to answer those questions. The first one I brought up was for 20,240. So, you know, it is the footprint. Not saying to downsize it, but let's, you know, everybody's having a hard time paying their utility bills. Saying that you're just worried about the cost of the total construction and you haven't focus on energy is, I don't think that'll go over well. We need to make sure that the right decisions are being made in time. And Gene, I think you said the right messages between what can be credited there and just do the, you know, have an answer for the analysis for that. That we've looked at that and that the envelope's good for another 25 years. And we don't need to insulate because we can comply. And we don't think we're going to have an issue with roof leaks and all that kind of stuff. And the doors are good enough for, I don't know if they're being replaced. They didn't seem like they were. So.
Well, again, when we, going back to the community center, there was lots of discussions about value engineering. And Mr. Kirby was an integral part of that. And he brought it bringing it to the committee's attention as to where maybe we could make some modifications. And we did. So, I just see this as like the community center, and Steve Rackington, you were involved in the town hall. I mean, things change on a daily or a monthly basis on these projects. So what you see and you talk about now may not be the case. However many, once you get into the project. But we've told the people, this is the number, and we're gonna stick to it. Hey, who knows? There's still the elephant in the room of the school override and what we're fighting against, and this may fly through town meeting. I hope it does. Still has to go to the ballot, and you don't know what's going to happen there. I was talking to a fellow the other day who's involved in stuff of these things, and I'll tell you, it was Steve Byrne, and he had some stuff going on in Hadley, or South Hadley, I guess it is, and they had they had a debt exclusion in 2 or 3 the debt exclusion construction projects, and they all went down in smoke. So this is a tough time to be doing this. We knew it was gonna be tight, but I'll tell you, from where I sit, I never knew the school was gonna be coming in looking for 4.1 or 4.4, whatever it is for the whole thing. I never did. So I look at it from, they had their bite at the apple last year. And, you know, call it what you want, but that school issue is gonna affect how people look at this project.
Oh, no question. I just want to make sure that we as a committee, and if we're into DD already, we can probably answer some of those questions I just brought up. Just want to make sure that we have good answers for those
Now,
things.
Dan, you mentioned something a few minutes ago. Are you saying you want to change the footprint? That you want to change the layout?
No.
Or are you-
Not at all.
All right, all right.
We're just asking about the cost of the fuel island, and if we just make it, does it have to be big enough to accommodate the fuel island? That may not be there in the future, because the future one may not be, who knows when that's gonna come. And I was just looking at the costs. Like I said, we'll have a blue beam session. The capital's gonna put a few comments together. I suspect on some others. I don't think anybody's at all concerned about the program and the footprint. That's really not the debate. I think at this point, it's about money well spent. You know, in addition to like how much it costs, people also look at value, and you're always playing that balance game. I just want to make sure on those 3 points specifically, those are the things that really stuck out to me as I looked at the plans and the cost estimate in the last few weeks. But you're gonna have good answers too.
Andy, you got anything to add on this?
Well, I have a few questions about the site plan, but I don't know if this is the forum, or if I should reach out to Steve, or who I should reach out to.
Oh, yeah. Ask now and
Yeah,
Well,
that's,
the way I'm looking at it, it appears to me that the sewer can go out to the street by gravity on the SD sketch. I don't know if they made any changes, but it would still be 4 feet deep, and from my viewpoint, I think you can eliminate the pump station and just gravity out. I don't know if there's any reason why you can't. I don't see it.
Well, the lift station is not a pump station, it's a lift station, Andy. And it's not written in stone. I think that they're still working out the logistics, and they think they can make it work gravity. And that was thrown in there as well, just in case we can't, we need to at least talk about it. But I think to your point, they have full intentions on making that work gravity.
Yeah,
yeah, we
the issue
wanted to
is
carry it to be conservative.
correct. And the issue really is not so much the elevation changes, but interference with other utilities. So we have to take a much more detailed look at that and see if we can make that work. But that is our intent, to try to get rid of that if we can.
Okay, good. And then there's no under slab plumbing plans. I didn't, without seeing those, you're gonna have to do 2 MDC traps. It
Yeah,
shows
you
2
mean,
traps. I
you
didn't
mean
know
like
if
an
you
oil
could-
water separator? Is that what you're?
Oil water separate, I'm sorry, yeah.
Yes, correct. Yep.
So you'll require 2 of those.
I believe the way we have it arranged, yeah, I believe there might be 2, yeah.
Okay, and then the other question, is there a preference to the diesel generator as opposed to the natural gas?
Yes, because of since 9/11, and we're
Mhm.
considered public safety. So like the police department and fire department, the government wants us to stay satellite ready so that if we had an act of terrorism, they can't cut us off. And that's what they could do with natural gas. I'm sorry, with gas from the street.
Correct.
So since 9/11, we've changed how first responders handle their generators. I get your point though, but that's what we've been doing since then.
JP, I believe there's also a big cost premium for the
I was
natural
gonna-
gas over
I was
diesel.
gonna mention that, yes, gas ones tend to be fairly more expensive.
Yeah, from the emergency, an emergency generator has to have its own controlled fuel source. There are some exceptions to that, but we're not even close to that. And as Weston and Sampson just mentioned, you're going to pay a premium for a gas one anyways.
Oh, oh, in building codes, just what we end up grading slabs for. Are all the slabs 10-inch concrete?
Are all the slabs what, I'm sorry?
10-inch
I believe
concrete.
typically we spec for slabs that will take large truck loading is 8-inch, and then we typically do 6-inch for administration areas.
I just saw on the narrative, and I may be misreading it, but slab on grades depth concrete was 10-inch minimum on page 3. I just
Yeah,
wasn't.
maybe I'm misquoting, but in any case, they're
Yeah, okay, good. That was really all I had.
Anybody else? John Johnson, you've been around a while.
No, no questions. As far as the fuel, moving that shed or building a new one out there, that's just gonna be for temporary. I understand the new one's gonna go out in front by the Pleasant Street area, so no, it looks good to me.
Question, Dennis, how big are your tanks?
1,000 gallons.
Yeah, 1,000 for diesel. We don't have unleaded.
We burn it
Do
up
you
in
have-
24 hours.
Okay, do you have on-road and off-road or just one diesel?
We have,
No, we.
Yep.
Go ahead, John.
you
I know you
have
miss
the,
it.
Off-road diesel for our vehicles and then the oil tank for the heating system.
Right.
John, thank you for giving that number. That's when I was poking around. I knew that your tank was small.
Yeah,
When I
very
went to look
small.
at when I look at the cost estimate, I'm looking, they talked about, and this is the ST cost estimate, maybe it's been updated, but we were putting a pretty decent number to move an existing small tank. I felt like you could buy a diesel convolt of 5,000 gallons and be done with it. And not have to move that one for the cost that cost estimate's saying. So I guess my point on the fuel island, there's two sides of that. If you're gonna build a big one that's gonna do all kinds of stuff, I get it, it's expensive. But if we're gonna put a concrete pad with a simple, you can buy those canopies out of a cat, you can pretty much buy those prefabricated. And then you're just gonna put a couple concrete convolts out there. Does it make sense just to have that temporary one be a little more functional than the way too short number of moving that old tank around? I did a National Park Service facility like this up in Acadia, Maine, and the same thing. Oh, we're gonna move it. Guess what we did in construction? For about $50,000 more, we built a new one that's just that, a canopy, a couple convolts.
Well-
and moving the tank didn't go over well at all.
Well, to Dan's point, we're saying this is gonna be temporary. Wow,
Government
Somebody-
temporary, Paul. Government temporary, which means 10 to 20 years.
yeah, that's where I'm going. Can somebody define temporary for me? Okay? Because it's gonna be a while before this fuel station gets moved out to the front where this the drawing shows it being as a permanent place. My guess is it's probably not gonna happen in my lifetime. So I can see the benefit of what Dan's saying here at that point, but again, it all depends on how much money is available going forward. I mean, it can always be added. And
I want to compare the Christ that's called the 10 to 20 year temporary versus moving what we're moving. And not doing a lot more than that, just talking about just putting some convolts underneath that canopy
hey, Dan,
on a concrete pad.
Dan, I'm agreeing with you, okay?
Yeah.
I'm agreeing with you.
Otherwise, I
Well-
think the plan looks good in the big scheme of things. You know, I'm gonna kind of wrap it up, Paul, from committee standpoint. I know that the initial blush from the CVC members was generally good, but I'm sure they'll throw up some ideas to be given to Steve and the Weston and Sampson team to consider on some stuff. But like I said, it's just gonna be ideas
Yep, no problem
and
with
some
that.
checking. But clean sets of eyes.
Right.
Dennis, you've been noticeably quiet.
I'm
What did you
thinking
do?
about
Did
my
you-
pillow.
I was gonna say, what you do? Move to the bed?
Oh, if I thought I could get away with it, I would.
You have
No, it's
anything?
just been a long day, that's all.
I understand. I understand. Anybody, Weston Sampson people or Vertex fellows have anything?
I
Add?
just want to make sure that everybody was okay with the with that presentation, and that's what we're going to use for the next few meetings as we go up to and including the town meeting. But if there's any comments,
I
let us
think
know.
it's fine. Dennis, perhaps you and I we can speak to the selectman or the town manager and ask that the members of the board review the video before the meeting. So maybe we could just kind of push through that, make the presentation to the selectmen anyway, a little less time consuming.
I think all three selectmen have seen the video because they all commented separately to me
Okay,
and told me they really appreciated it and thought it was well done.
all right.
Paul, I can confirm that because I sent it to all three of them.
Madam Manager, where have you been?
Sir Co-FinCom Chair, how are you this evening?
Well, that's fine. There's maybe you want to turn the camera on because there's some gentlemen here that have not met you.
Well, I'm sitting at home in my PJs. Otherwise, I would be happy to.
Well,
I
good.
just thought I'd take a minute to say hi.
Well, good for you, Madam Manager. So that is the voice of our new manager who has been in the position since March 2nd, I believe, and some days I'm surprised that she comes back. She comes back the next day, but
That's all
So-
right, because you keep the laughs coming, Paul. So
Yeah.
that's what we come back for.
Well,
So nice to meet you all virtually. I'm sure if I haven't met you yet, I'll meet you in person at some point soon.
well,
Nice meeting you.
you'll probably be at the selectmen's meeting, Kristen. So, but
Sounds
thank
good.
you. Thank you for joining us. I had led earlier in the meeting. I had told them I had extended an invitation for you to join us, but you finally made it anyway. So I don't know how much of the discussion you've heard, but it's an ongoing process, and we're kind of working our way through it to make the best we can out of this at the town meeting, and hopefully it goes forward to the election.
Well, I appreciate everyone's efforts.
All right, thank you. So just so we've set it be time, we're going to the selectmen on Tuesday, this public meeting on Thursday, and the town meeting on the following Thursday. Does anybody have anything else to add? Any comments or anything before we bring this to a close?
So we'll be getting a link to the DD set.
Yes.
And any idea when that'll be, Steve or Tony? JP?
That can be forwarded at any moment.
Okay.
Steve Rackett, and you're on mute. Still.
Sorry about that. My question was, I think the last time we met, I had suggested that it might be a good idea to have a slimmed down version of the schematic design set available for handout at the town meeting. Is that something that the committee thinks would be helpful?
Probably wouldn't hurt.
Are you suggesting at the public information sessions or at town meeting or both?
Well, maybe both. I mean, I don't know how many people are going to show up at the public information meeting, but whatever copies we have there, we can certainly bring them to the town meeting. There may be more interest in that kind of stuff at the town meeting, perhaps.
Would
Steve, you
suggest
mentioned,
making- oh,
I was just
Go
going
ahead,
to say,
Tony.
you mentioned SD. Maybe we could just pull select sheets from the DD. Just the DD is further along than the SD, but maybe there's rhyme or reason to going with the SD.
I think the drawings probably, I haven't seen them, so I don't know, but I think the drawings typically would be much more detailed. And at the town meeting, it's very easy to get overwhelmed with details. So if the narrative is available, and if there are just a few pictures in the narrative, even though they're not as detailed as the DD stuff, I think that for the average town meeting person that comes to vote, that might be enough information.
Steve, do you think we just make handouts of the slides that we showed that have the floor plans and the isometric exterior and the site plan, those 4 slides? Would that
I mean, if there's anything else like that we could use, that would be great.
Yeah, I would suggest we come up with a short abridged drawing
Maybe.
set, maybe, or just a few sheets of.
I
and
was
then
thinking
would-
these right here, JP,
Maybe that's enough. Yeah.
because that really sums it up.
Well,
Yep.
I say
We could
pictures-
also do a similar thing, but have the full floor plan on a sheet, so it's readable rather than split up like that. So
Well, I
that
was
would be
only
something.
thinking you could keep it to an 8.5 by 11, not having,
Right.
going 11 by 17s and all that kind of stuff. And,
Sure.
maybe you add in, the match line or something. Obviously not have any of this, but just the plan itself.
We can prepare something.
would it be worthwhile to have those those poster board things that we used at the session in the common in the fall? If we had something like that to put out in the hall, would anybody think that might be beneficial?
I think it's good PR.
Yeah, I think it works pretty well generally.
So you can accommodate that, but back they say a picture's worth 1,000 words, and maybe somebody sees. I don't think you can do too much trying to show what this is. So,
Sure.
but to a point that was earlier, you were saying that you don't know how many people are going to be at the town meeting. Madam Manager, I believe we have you've made arrangements for a deputy moderator and use of the gymnasium for the town meeting. Am I correct there?
That is correct.
Because
We've also borrowed extra devices should we need them from the town of Grafton.
so we're covering the bases. Again, we have no idea how many people are gonna be there. So I'm again, I don't know how many people are aware of this project. I know there's not a lot of people aware of the school override issue. That's for sure. I know that for a fact. But because I've spoken to people from Mendon, and I say, what about the school debt and all? They said they don't know what I'm talking about. They think I'm talking about the capital plan that was approved last year. So But they've chosen to handle it a different way than the town has, but that's not a conversation for this group. So if nobody has anything else to add here, we'll see you at, Dennis, are these, is the selectmen's meeting hybrid? Did we decide? Is everybody we gonna put everybody in the room?
Select board meeting is hybrid, but I thought we were gonna be there in person.
Yeah, the committee is, yeah, but I'm, there's Vertex and Weston Sampson. I suppose it's
We were,
good impression that we're there.
we were planning on having representatives available to come in person.
Yes,
All right, that's good. So. Anybody else have any business questions or anything going forward? All right, hearing none, we'll accept a motion to adjourn at 7:57.
So moved.
Moved and seconded, roll
Second,
call vote, Paul Flaherty, aye.
John Johnson, aye.
Andy
Steve
Leonard,
Roxton, aye.
Dan, you still there?
Dan Lazar's dropped just a second ago.
Oh, okay. We're good then. Thank you, gentlemen.
good night,
you.
everyone.
And man,
Thanks,
man.
all.